This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast that takes a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we are celebrating a perfect home week for Bates fall sports. Men's soccer is 2-0. Women's soccer is 2-0. Number 7 nationally ranked field hockey is 2-0. And our volleyball team is 3-0. Plus, women's golf won the Husson Invitational. And this week, we're previewing the Bates football season, which kicks off this Saturday at Amherst. All that coming up on the Bates Bobcast. Women's soccer had a week to remember. First, the Bobcats beat Husson 4-1 on Tuesday with an Isabelle Bernal goal against the Eagles, landing at number 8 on ESPN SportsCenter's top 10 plays of the night. Then they followed that up with a 1-0 win Saturday in their NESCAC opener against Trinity as sophomore Rachel Suh scored the game-winning goal in the 88th minute. Combine that with her 2 assists against Husson, and Suh is our female Bobcat of the week and the NESCAC Player of the Week. She and Bernal, who teamed up to land Bates on SportsCenter, joined the Bobcats this week to look back on women's soccer's first 2-0 start since 2017. Well, we have a pair of Bobcats who were on national television this past week when they made SportsCenter's top 10 at number 8. We've got Rachel Suh and Isabelle Bernal with us. And Rachel, you assisted on Isabelle's goal that made the SportsCenter top 10 at number 8 there on Tuesday against Husson. What did you see to make that cross? And what was your reaction when she did her fancy backflip into the net?
Oh my gosh. Well, so I made a run on the back shoulder of a defender, and Nicole, one of my teammates, had the ball, and so she just placed a ball on the other side while I made the run. And this was like basically what we do in our warm-up like every day. We do these crosses into the box, and so I picked my head up and I saw Bernie was in the box, and I just placed it on the ground, and I did not expect her to do that, but I was in shock and I was so happy. It was so cool.
And from your perspective, what prompted you to make that maneuver? What were you kind of thinking in that moment?
Well, the defense was not marking me, and I just kind of made a run through the box, very, textbook run, and it was a very good ball. Won't lie, that ball is, really hard to do because, the keeper has to, kind of, decide whether or not to, pick up the ball or not. So it was really well placed, and honestly, it'd be embarrassing if I didn't do the back heel. So, honestly, Is
that something you work on, the back heel?
Not really.
Not really, okay.
I just kind of did it. It was kind of just a thing. So.
Gotcha. And was the gritty celebration pre-planned?
Actually, yes, because my first goal that I scored, I was I didn't celebrate. I didn't do the gritty, which I used to do in high school. So I was I got to do the gritty for this one. And then it ended up being on national television. So that's
Gotcha. And, to be on ESPN as a first year in your first match, what does that mean to you?
I was just kind of surprised. It's kind of cool. I kind of won't lie. It's kind of cool. But, yeah, it was a really cool moment, and my family was really proud of me. So. Yeah,
and Rachel, what was your reaction when you found out it was on SportsCenter?
Oh, my gosh. I was in shock. I thought it was, fake at first, and then I was seeing the clips, and I sent it to Bernie, and I was like, are you seeing this? There's no way.
And, for you, as a rookie, what's it like adjusting to college soccer so far? What's through 2 matches, I guess?
It's definitely an adjustment. I won't lie. It's definitely more tactical, and your runs, making sure, just positioning-wise, just different, and keeping your head, just different things. So yeah, it's definitely really fun though. I'm really enjoying myself.
And Rachel, the game-winning goal there for you against Trinity. We interviewed you there on the field after the game, but just take us through that goal again. You mentioned it was kind of a blur at the time, right?
Yeah, I actually did watch back the film so I could actually see it. But basically Eleanor just placed a ball to Gabby, who was in the perfect spot, and she took her shot. And the keeper made a save, and it was rolling back out to me. And so I just had to place it in the corner. But I was kind of freaking out in the moment also, just being please don't miss, please don't miss.
And Isabelle, what was your view of that game-winning goal?
I was actually on the sidelines, and I lost it. I went wild because it was last 5 minutes, and it was everyone was super tense up, and it was just a beautiful goal. I was just so excited.
Excellent. Well, we have 2 West Coasters here joining us. You're from San Francisco, Isabelle, so take us through how Bates got on your radar.
So Kat Zola actually committed to Bates before me, a year before me. So then I kind of got on my radar, and then I just emailed the coach, and then that's kind of what happened. So
Gotcha. So, and was she a high school teammate of yours, or
club
club
SF
team?
Elite?
Okay.
Shout out SF Elite. Yeah.
There you go. And then Rachel, same question for you. Kind of, how did Bates get on your radar, being from Seattle?
So at my high school, I was at a small high school, and Jacob Kajababian, who's on the lacrosse team, he is a year older than me, so I knew of the school because he committed for lacrosse. And then I was just kind of doing like a tour of the like D3 schools kind of on the East Coast because I wanted to kind of experience something different. And Coach Joe actually used to coach at UPS, which was in Washington, and so he knew some of my club coaches, and so that connection just made it very easy.
It's a young season, 2 matches in, but what's it like so far? I mean, you're a sophomore now, so compared to last year, how is the team kind of coming together? And I mean, it must have been thrilling to start off NESCAC play 1-0, right?
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I'm very, very proud of the team. I think we've started the season really well, and I think it just reflects the work we put in preseason and in the off season. We were doing like 6 a.m. lifts, 6 a.m. speed labs last winter in the off season, and I know everybody was putting in a lot of hard work this summer. And I also just think like the team culture has been amazing this year, like so positive, like everyone's very supportive of each other, and I think it's really helped our success.
You had 2 assists. Take us through your passing, kind of what you're looking for when you're trying to get those assists. Like, what are you seeing out there? Is that something you pride yourself on?
Yeah, especially in this Husson game, they had a really high back line, so I was making these runs on the back shoulder into the corner basically the whole game. And so when I'm getting the ball up there, I just pick my head up, and normally we have runners in the box, so I usually just try and place a ball somewhere in there, and usually people can get some sort of touch on it.
And I had a question for you, because against Husson, everyone who scored was a first year. In your class, and you had 2 of them, of course, what's that like to have all your classmates getting involved so heavily so early on like that?
It was so special, I won't lie. Like, the freshmen really worked hard preseason. It was definitely an adjustment for all of us, so it was definitely a really cool moment for all of us, and not just for me being on national television, but for the rest of the freshmen.
And what's this group like? Kind of what's the dynamic with the first years?
Really great. We're really like tight. We're kind of like a family, really. So yeah, it's really cool.
And what's it like, Rachel, from your perspective, seeing them come in being so good so early?
It's amazing. I mean, we couldn't have really asked for anything more, especially in the first game. Them coming out with that kind of momentum was awesome. And I think last year we had some trouble finishing our shots sometimes. And so to come into the first game and have these first years do it right away is just amazing.
And obviously we're playing on Garcelon for now, but we're going to have a brand new Russell Street turf coming up. I'm sure that's pretty exciting for both of you. What are your thoughts on that?
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. What about you? Because, I mean, you played on Russell last year when it was grass, and now it's going to be turf, right?
I'm so excited. Last year the grass was a little tough to play on, but I'm excited because we'll also have a lot more field space and more availability, and it'll be nice to have our own field. Because like sometimes we would have games on Russell that would have to be moved to Garce based on like weather or something. So it'll be nice to just have our own field there.
But Garcelon's pretty fun too, right?
Oh, it's very fun.
It seems like the team really embraces playing on the turf surface.
Yeah.
And why is that? Just because you like the speed, or?
I think turf is just really reliable. Sometimes with grass, like you don't know what to expect. There's like bumps. It can get muddy. And so I just prefer turf. I mean, in Seattle, I always play on turf too. So.
Yeah. And then, Isabelle, just take us back growing up in California. What made soccer kind of your favorite sport, I guess?
I don't know. I was put in really young age, like 4 years old. Yeah. And then I just kind of did other sports. I did like snowboarding, basketball, all the other sports. I just love soccer because my dad always watched it. So I kind of grew up in that environment. And then, yeah, I just fell in love with it.
So are you like a Premier League follower, or how does that go?
Barcelona,
okay. And what about you?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't watch that much.
Well, the Sounders.
Okay, well, yeah.
Are you a Sounders fan?
Yeah, I watched the Sounders.
Yeah.
I went to a lot of Seattle Reign games, which was our women's
sure.
team.
Yeah.
But I don't watch a lot of Premier League soccer.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is a little shameful.
Well,
I will admit.
it's a little rare.
Yeah.
I mean, the time differences.
I mean, my brother and my dad are so into it.
Oh, yeah.
And they watch it all the time. I don't know.
Well, what first got you into the sport from a playing perspective then?
I started playing when I was also like 3. Like I did those like little kids camps, and then when I did a couple other sports, and then I think in like first grade, I started playing Premier Soccer and then just stopped doing all my other sports. My mom actually made me start doing soccer against my will. I didn't want to do it, but she ended up being right. So, once I started playing club Premier, I just dropped everything else.
What point in high school, I think I can play in college?
My club placed a lot of importance on, going to, when we would go to a lot of showcases and tournaments and emailing college coaches. So it was kind of a process for everyone to do. And then it wasn't until maybe, sophomore-ish year that I was already doing it, but when I decided, I was like, okay, I really think I want to do this and pursue this seriously. And so I think just going to all those showcases and having that knowledge from my club made it a lot easier.
Excellent. Well, 2-0 start for Bates. You're at Amherst on Saturday. Your next home match is going to be on September 17th against UNE, and then NESCAC play gets back going on Saturday, September 21 at Wesleyan. But, Rachel, what do you hope to see from the team in the next couple non-conference matches to prepare for, the resumption of the NESCAC schedule, I guess, right?
I think it's really important for us to just keep doing what we're doing. The non-conference games are just as important as our conference games, and in our team meetings, we've also placed a lot of importance on winning all of our non-conference games and hopefully having shutouts for them. So I think just continuing what we're doing.
And then Isabelle, coming from the West Coast, private schools maybe you hadn't heard of before. So do you even care about who you're playing, or are you just going out and having fun?
Hell no, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't check the record. I see we're playing the mascot and Cassie Bird.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited just to crush the next teams we play. So
sounds good. Isabelle Bernal and Rachel Suh, ESPN top 10 against Husson at number 8, and then a big 1-0 win over Trinity on Saturday. Thanks so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
yeah, of
Thank
course.
you.
Men's soccer started their season with a 3-0 win at St. Joseph's on Wednesday. Then they beat Trinity 2-0 on Saturday in the NESCAC opener. Sophomore walk-on Benny Bogyo scored a goal in both matches, and he is our male Bobcat of the Week. Well, Benny, you come to Bates from Redwood City, California, but you weren't a recruited athlete for soccer, so just take us through kind of growing up in California. What made you want to come to Bates, first of all, and then what inspired you to try out for the team?
Both of my parents actually went to Bates, so pretty cool story there. I also originally wanted to play soccer for Bates. I was in contact with one of the old coaches, and then obviously they moved on from him, and then I reached out to try out, and they said there was no opportunity my freshman year, so I just waited it out a bit. And then Brewster came along, and then I reached out to him, and he said I could try out in the spring, which was my freshman year. And so then, I started trying out in the spring, and then he told me right before our year ended that I had made the team, and I was super excited, and then went into the summer.
So both your parents went to Bates. Did either of them play a sport here?
Yes, my mom actually played volleyball here, and my dad played club volleyball.
Okay, so volleyball kind of background in your family.
Yeah.
So neither of them played soccer at all?
No.
So how'd you get involved? And everyone, even I played soccer, but how'd you get involved real competitively, I guess?
Yeah, so I just started when I was young, around 5 years old, obviously playing AYSO, and then I started playing club for a team called Juventus, and I stayed with that club pretty much my whole life. I had the same coach, and it was just a great experience for me. California is pretty heavy on soccer, so I was able to play a lot there, which was great.
And so the tryout process in the spring, what was that like working with the team? Because I know they do get limited spring practices now with the coaches. So, did you feel a lot of pressure? Was it, just, nothing to lose? Or what were your thoughts on that kind of?
Yeah, so I think it was 10 practices is what they're limited to. So I knew that the Coach Brewster had told me that he was going to give me the whole spring stretch, and then he was going to let me know if I needed to continue that tryout in the preseason of next year or if I would make it. And so that whole period I knew I needed to just give it everything I had basically and just show why I deserve to be on this team, because I know there's limited spots, big roster. So it was really just a mentality of you need to really show why you deserve this, why you're as good as everybody on this team.
And you entered your first year on the team here, and you right away scored a goal against St. Joseph's, and then scored another goal in NESCAC actually against Trinity. The St. Joseph's goal was a cool sequence. Take us through that. You got the header right, and then you one-timed it in?
Yeah. So the St. Joe's game, we had a throw-in. Rex normally takes our throw-ins. He can really hit them really long, so he throws it in. Noah gets a little touch off his head. It's bouncing, and then I had a little bit of space, so I just thought I'd hit it first time, and then I got some height on it, some power, and the goalie didn't save it. So great feeling. And
then Trinity, you made quite the move against the defender. How'd that go?
Yeah, so in the Trinity game, I came in second half, about 20 minutes left. Drew on the left wing, dribbled it inside, played it into me. I took a big touch forward to try to get a little bit of space. Defender caught up, so I cut back. It went in between his legs, and then I saw the far post open, so I just took a shot.
Could you imagine, scoring 2 goals in your first 2 collegiate matches?
It's pretty amazing. It's been a great week, I can't lie. Yeah, so I've been in contact with my parents and stuff. Everyone's just super excited. It's been awesome.
Now, did you watch the team last year as a fan at all in the fall?
Yeah, I actually went to a decent amount of games, and I was friends with some of the guys on the team, and I always thought, maybe one time I'll try out, and then eventually I did.
Did the guys kind of encourage you to try out? Did you talk to them about that?
Yeah, a little bit. So when I first got here, I told a couple of the guys, and they said, yeah, why don't you try to reach out? And then, yeah. But also, I remember playing intramural soccer, and the goalie at the time on the team, his name's Hayden.
Yeah.
He was refereeing the game, and he told me afterwards, he was like, dude, you should totally try out. And I was like, that really gave me that extra push because he was on the team, so he knows the caliber of the players. So I was like, oh, why not? And then that's what made me initially reach out.
I'm gonna guess your intramural soccer team probably won.
Yeah, we were playing pretty well, but then it got canceled because it snowed. So we never really finished. But yeah, we were doing pretty well.
Gotcha. And then have you always been, a forward on the attack like this?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What makes that kind of your ideal position, you think?
I really like just attacking. I don't mind defending. It's just I feel like I can use my qualities better up front, and I just like to play that position more. I don't know. I feel more comfortable there for sure. And
obviously, this Trinity game, a big 2-0 NESCAC win. What was the team's? What did Ben say to you guys afterwards? First of all, what's going through the team's mind right now off to such a good start?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think the team could not be happier with the way the season has started. Last season, of course, was a struggle, and then. So just going from that, I think everybody realizes that, this is something big. This is something our coach always says, I know you guys can feel this here. We feel something special here. This is, a group of guys that can really get it done. So after that win, it was just huge. First NESCAC win, shutout. It's just really great feeling.
And then speaking of Coach Ben Brewster, in his first year as head coach here at Bates, what do you kind of learn from him so far throughout the process?
Yeah, he's been a great coach. He definitely has a lot of great ideas for us as to how we want to play as a team, how we want to just work as hard as we can. He's always telling us we want to run teams off the field. Our fitness level is huge to him. So over the summer, he gave us this whole packet for us to stay fit. So everyone stuck to it, and it has paid off tremendously.
That's kind of a big thing, and especially in D3s. You're on your own in the summer, so it's up to you individually to stay in shape or even get in better shape. So what was your process like over the summer, knowing you were on the team, but knowing now you want some playing time?
Yeah, exactly. It was basically just following that packet as much as I could, getting in as much touches as I could, just working extremely hard to make sure my level didn't drop at all and make sure that Brewster made the right decision, just show him coming back that, you were right, I should be on this team.
And you guys are playing on turf this year, starting on Garcella and then moving over to the new Russell Street field soon. What's it like playing on turf? It's a fast game, isn't it?
Yeah, I prefer turf, honestly. I wasn't able to play on the original Russell field, but I think that it should be great for us. I think that we play really well on turf, so hopefully we'll keep it up.
And then I guess, our thoughts on, what's going to be the key to the team's success in your mind going forward sort of this year?
I think a big thing is just our mentality. We haven't faced any setbacks yet, so just to make sure that we keep that positive mentality, keep it as a group, play together through thick and thin is just what I think will be best for us.
I have to imagine the returnees are pretty hungry, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's got to be some extra motivation to try to, have a breakthrough year, it seems like. Just any other thoughts you wanted to mention about the season so far we haven't got to talk about yet?
It's been great. I'm loving it.
Benny Bogyo, 1 goal apiece in his first 2 collegiate matches, so 2 goals on the season so far, and the Bobcats are 2-0 and looking for another win here this week. I believe you're at UNE on Tuesday.
Yes, we are.
Thanks so much.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
The field hockey team moved up from 9th to 7th in the national rankings after a 2-0 start to the season. They saw the Bobcats win 4-1 at Southern Maine on Tuesday and beat Trinity in the NESCAC opener 4-1 on Saturday at Campus Avenue Field. Sophomore Haley Dwight had a key defensive save and scored her first collegiate goal in the victory. Well, Haley, you're a sophomore now, but take us back, just growing up, actually. How did you first get into the sport of field hockey? growing up in Massachusetts. What got you into it?
It's funny because I was always a soccer player. I didn't know anything about field hockey. And then getting into high school, it's like, I don't like soccer. I want to try something new. And one of my eighth grade teachers, she played at Pentucket, which was my high school. And she was like, you should try field hockey. It's so fun. It's so great. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready for something new. So 8th grade, I did like one little clinic in the summer. And then I was like, yeah, I love this. And I picked it up freshman year. And I just fell in love with the sport ever since then.
And then kind of throughout high school, when did you realize, hey, I could play this in college? And then what made Bates the place for you specifically?
Yeah, I didn't realize I wanted to play in college until the end of my junior year, which is crazy. I played club starting my sophomore year, and my high school field hockey coach and one of my psychology teachers, her daughter played at Bates on the field hockey team. And she was like, Bates is amazing. She always talked about it, but I was like, I don't think college field hockey is for me. So I started playing club field hockey, and my club field hockey coach, my first winter season, was Shelby McCormick, and she also played at Bates. I think she graduated in 2019, I believe.
That sounds right.
Yep. And she was like, I was like, she's a phenomenal field hockey player. I want to play like her. And she was like, well, I played at Bates. And I was like, oh my God, no way. And ever since then, it was either like Bates or nothing. And then Shannon Beaton, who was another alum, she was my assistant field hockey coach for my senior year of high school. And she was like, Bates is amazing, Bates. And I was like, yeah, this is it. So it was really, I went to a prospect clinic, and I was like, still was not sure that I wanted to play when I came to the clinic. And then after, I just fell in love with it. And I was like, if this works out, this is my fate. But other than that, there really was nothing else I was interested in.
That's so funny. Like 3 separate people happen to have Bates connections.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it felt like it was just meant to be.
Yeah, certainly. And then, all right, so what a win there, 4-1 over Trinity on Saturday. First, let's talk about your defensive save on the penalty corner. At this point, it's a scoreless game. It's almost halftime, but Trinity finally gets their first and only penalty corner of the game. And they got a decent shot off, but you were there to block it and get the defensive save at the corner there. Take us through what you saw on that play.
So it's funny because I don't ever play posts in the corners. Usually I'm the trail or a flyer. And right before, Danny was like, okay, you're going to play post. And she's like, the shooter really favors that right side of the goal. She's like, on a corner, I want you to just have your stick down flat, and it's probably going to come your way. And she said that right before the game started. So the only thing, there's actually a picture of it, and you can see, like, there's a picture of us in the corner, and that was during that. And I was looking right forward. I wasn't even looking at the ball. I'm like, I'm just going to come out into the post, put my stick down, just like Coach said. And the second the ball came out, I saw her stick angle towards me. I'm like, I'm just going to keep it flat. And I felt it hit my stick, and I kind of hit my stick in my forearm a little bit. I actually have a bruise on my arm right here from the ball. And it went right up and over, and there was like a moment of silence. I don't know if it was me or the crowd or something, because I don't think anyone knew where the ball went, because you could see I was like looking around for it, and I was like, this either just went top right of the goal or it went over. And then it was Amanda right next to me, and she looked at me, and she's like, oh my God. And I was like, there's no way. It's just a crazy feeling, but I was like, I felt the contact of my stick, and I was like, I'm praying my stick angle was correct for it to go over.
Excellent. Then at halftime, obviously, the team came out strong in the third quarter, scoring 3 goals. What did you notice about how the team, you really controlled the first half, but really, put your stamp on the game in the third quarter, it seemed like?
I think the biggest thing for us is we continued to play our game throughout all 4 quarters, and I think that's really difficult to keep the energy up, especially at a 0-0 game where we are dominating. You kind of like maybe lose some hope, well, we're not going to score, but we just kept playing our game, kept up our principles of play the whole time, and we knew if we did that and trusted our team that things would fall for us, and that's exactly what happened. So I think we kept that energy even after being 3-0, and that's how the outcome of the game happened.
And you add the 4th goal there.
Yeah, that was so
it
crazy.
Came in the 4th quarter, chaotic around the cage. What was that like? And it was actually, it's funny, it was the same spot almost as your save, except on offense, right?
Which is also funny because I never play post on an offensive corner, but we had a decent amount of mids in, and the forwards are at the top of the circle, so I'm like, all right, I'll just play post. I know what to do. I'll just go in. I never practice it. And again, it just was perfect placement. I know how to play the position, and it was a beautiful ball by Anna Lindice, and then Anna Cody was trying to get it in, and I just saw the ball, and I was like, I'm just going to do what I know how to do best. So it was definitely a surreal feeling because being a midfielder, that doesn't happen all the time. So, and first college goal, too, was a really cool experience.
Well, you're a sophomore. Your first year, you played a little bit, but this year you're starting.
Yeah.
What's it like to have this new big role?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of pressure, but what we like to always talk about is pressure is privilege, and I think that's a huge thing. I think coming into the season with a lot of positions up for grabs, big shoes to fill. Everyone worked for where they are, and I didn't know what to expect, but I feel really blessed to be in this position and just keep working really hard every day. Nothing is guaranteed, but it's a huge opportunity, and I'm just going to keep going with it and see what happens.
And what was your rookie year kind of like to, kind of witness what Bates was able to accomplish, kind of a historic season right off the bat?
Yeah. I mean, just watching those girls, sometimes I'd be on the sidelines. I'd be like, oh my God, these girls are so cool. And then you realize that they're on your team and those are your teammates and you're the one that's pushing them in practice every day. And I think Lauren Salazar being the right midfielder last year, I kind of knew that's where I wanted to be. And I just picked up on every little thing that she did last year and just wanted to play just like her and hoping to fill her shoes, hopefully. But I think watching a team like that work together, it's so inspiring. And you just want to work to get there one day and hope that that happens.
And then, so 2-0 start to the year for the Bobcats. A big midweek non-conference game, right, against Babson. What are your thoughts on Babson coming up Wednesday?
I think there's a lot of nerves that come along with that. Obviously, we had 2 crazy games at them last year, and ending our season with them as well is a lot of pressure. I think they're a phenomenal team, and they have a lot of older players this year. They've got a lot of grad students as well. Yeah. They had a good game against Williams this past weekend. So there's definitely a lot of anticipation, but I think, again, home field, play our game on our surface because they play on field turf. So we have an upper hand in a sense. And I think as long as we just are confident in our abilities and play the way that we should, I think it could fall in our favor.
Yeah, people don't realize, but the surface matters so much.
So much.
And the surface at Bates is awesome for this team. Why is it so great for the Bobcats, you think?
Well, I think also starting our season, our first 2 games were on field turf. So we haven't been able to play a game together on our Astro. And I think our surface is beautiful. The campus is the liveliness during a game too is just something that I've never experienced anywhere else. And a lot of schools do have Astro and a lot of schools don't. And I think it's a huge opportunity to get some. I think our speed was a huge factor this weekend. And we have that advantage with that surface that Babson might not on their surface.
Great. And then I guess just any other thoughts on the past weekend and what was it like to get out there and get a big NESCAC victory to start the year we haven't got to talk about yet?
Yeah, it's really exciting to come out and make such a statement. I think a win is a win, but a 4-1 win is a huge statement, especially against the team that we beat in OT last year. So it's huge for us, and I think we're not the only team that recognizes we've lost a lot of players, and I mean every other team did as well, but there's a huge pressure from last year having such a wonderful season, and we're just going with it. And it's just really exciting to start off like that. And I think we're going to continue in that trajectory as well.
Excellent. Haley Dwight, first career goal at the college level there on Saturday, and also a huge defensive save in the first half. Thank you so much for joining us on the Bobcast.
Thank you.
Volleyball is 3-0 after wins over Husson, Keene State, and Dean last week. Sophomore Sofia Castiglioni is leading the NESCAC in hitting percentage so far on the young season, and rookie Skye Higashihara has been very impressive at setter so far this year. The dynamic duo of underclassmen joined the Bobcast to chat about volleyball's first 3-0 start since 2019. Well, the volleyball team is off to a 3-0 start to the year. We have sophomore Sofia Castiglioni and first year Skye Higashihara with us here on the Bobcast. And Skye, I'll start with you. As a setter, getting the chance to start and really have a big impact right away. What's it been like adjusting to college volleyball so far?
It's been very different college volleyball, but I will say having the girls around is super nice. They're all super welcoming, and it's really been really fun playing with them. And it's especially nice having local roots like Ellie, Amy, and Logan. Having people from home is nice, and it's like a sense of security.
And you knew Amy pretty well before you came to Bates, right? Amy Evans, junior captain. So is she the one maybe who convinced you this would be the place to go, or how did that go kind of in terms of when you're looking for colleges?
Yeah, I played against Amy back home a couple times. Yeah. It's a small island, so it's like everyone knows each other. And then I played high school with Ellie, so that's been nice, and she did a lot of convincing.
And when you first started playing volleyball, how did you become a setter? What made that your position?
I don't know. I was just kind of thrown in there. Basketball used to be my first sport, so with volleyball, I just kind of went with the flow of things, and then I just ended up liking the sport, and I just grew as a setter in that position.
Great. And Sofia, you had a very efficient week. You're leading the NESCAC right now in hitting percentage.
Oh, wow, really?
Yep, at the moment. What was clicking for you there at the middle blocker spot?
I don't know. This year I wanted to go out with a bang, and I got rid of all my freshman nerves last year, so I feel like I'm a lot more confident playing. And then Skye's been a great help. I think we have a really good connection, and she's just an amazing setter and fun person to be with on the court.
Yeah, how have you developed that chemistry with the first year here?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. I mean, just a lot of work in preseason, 2 practices a day. You definitely get a lot of reps with, like, everyone on the team. So it's just been, like, constantly working with each other to get better.
And Skye, from your perspective, I mean, Sofia being a middle blocker, those are very quick sets, right? Quick kills. How does that kind of go? Do you enjoy those, setting her up like that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I love setting Sofia. It's so much fun, especially when we get a big hit. It feels really good.
Yeah, emphatic, right?
Yep.
And then you yourself, I've noticed, you could be kind of sneaky with trying to get some kills yourself. How do you decide when to make the move like that?
I like setting it over like during rallies. I feel like that's good because it throws off the other team and they're not really anticipating anything. But I've been working with Coach Emily on that as well so that I could free up the pin hitters as well.
Great. And Sofia, in terms of communication out on the court, obviously it's the most important thing. In Alumni Gym, how are you communicating with, Skye, with your fellow hitters as well? How does that kind of go?
Well, before each serve, Skye or like any setter who's on the court will communicate to their hitters with like a hand signal or whatever to say like what hit or what set that you want to hit off of before each play. So there's that, and then actually going in for the hit, you just be really loud and vocal. She knows where I am because she's kind of looking at the ball the entire time, doesn't really know where I am. So as long as I'm loud and vocal, I feel like we can find each other on that.
3-0 start for the team. Good start to your collegiate career, but what are some areas you're really focused on moving forward so the team keeps its momentum going, kind of?
I think something we're focused on as a team is keeping our energy up during the games. That's we had a big emphasis on that during preseason as well, keeping the energy high and communication as well.
Well, and then, Sofia, the other day you had 2 matches in one day and a little bit of a break between the matches, but how do you kind of approach that when you have 2 matches going?
Yeah, well, you just got to stay warm. I mean, obviously we went to go eat after our first match and kind of cool down for a bit, but after that, first 30 minutes, I mean, it's go time again. You have to get ready for the match and just you're constantly staying warm because once you get cold, it's, hard to get warm again and be prepared for the next match.
A couple more non-conference matches here, Sofia. You're at Maine Maritime Academy on Wednesday. You are playing against Salem State and Smith at Smith on Saturday. Then you finally get a NESCAC match Friday, September 20th against Amherst. So these non-conference matches leading up to NESCAC play. When you were a rookie last year, did you notice a big difference, non-conference, conference, or how'd that kind of go from you?
Yeah, I feel like with non-conference games, I think it's a way to get our confidence up as a team. I feel like the NESCAC games are a little bit more competitive, which we love, but I think these first matches are a really good way to test our team chemistry and just figure out who we are as players, especially playing for the first time, a lot of us together on the court. So I think these non-conference matches are really helpful in getting our confidence and figuring out about each other. And
this is an interesting team because you have some experienced players, but you also have some younger players like Skye making an immediate impact, like yourself as a sophomore. So what's that kind of dynamic like, the kind of the mix of the youth coming in and also the experience?
I mean, I feel like I don't really see it in that way. I feel like we all are really great players and the age just happens to be there. But I think we've done a really good job with team bonding and similar stuff to be very cohesive as a team regardless of our ages, and I don't really see that, honestly, on our team.
Oh, excellent. And then Skye, this team, you might have noticed, is very active on TikTok. Of all the Bates athletic programs, I think the volleyball team is the most active on TikTok. Are you enjoying that so far? Have you gotten involved with those?
Yep, that's all credits to Coach Grace. He's been posting a lot on TikTok, and it's been lots of fun.
What about you, Sofia? Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, it's been really fun. Definitely different from last year, but I think we're all having a really good time with it.
What's your favorite one you've made?
The move-in TikTok was really fun for the athlete move-in day, or the athletes helping in the first year's move-in day. Our coaches did their rounds on every building and said hi to pretty much the entire team who was helping out moving in, but it was funny because we were all doing these different dances and whatever, and it was really silly.
Well, there was one that must require a lot of planning because the first years jumped over the camera to land at an alumni gym.
Yeah, there was that one too.
What was that one like to do?
Grace just sent us a text and she was like, "Oh, can we film this TikTok?" And then we all just kind of did our thing from home. We just jump over the camera, and then it was really fun to film.
Excellent. And then I guess I was going to follow up on the Hawaii connection. We touched on this, but 4 people from Hawaii on this team. Coming from Hawaii to Maine as a first year, have there been big adjustments yet? Is that going to come in December when it starts snowing?
Probably in December. summer, yeah. I'm definitely not used to the 4 seasons, but I'm excited to experience it. But then also having like all the Hawaii girls is really helpful, and it's nice knowing that they're here. I can talk to them.
Makes the transition easier, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, excellent. And then there's also you're from California, and there's a few. Volleyball's a big sport in California, right? So what's it like having your fellow Californians, though?
I mean, we have a sense of community, and we have like not inside jokes, but like little things that we know and only we know. Probably same with Skye and like Hawaii, but it's cool having a sense of community within a team.
Great. Well, any other thoughts either of you wanted to share on the first 3 matches of the year and how they've gone, and we haven't got to talk about yet or anything?
I mean, I can start by saying that I think we're already a really solid team, and I think our defense has improved a lot from last year. I think we have a lot to grow and to learn from still, but I see ourselves going on a really good trajectory, and I'm excited to see what the season holds for us.
Yeah, same as Sofia. I think this team has a lot of potential to grow, and it's been nice the first 3 matches having to like grow our team chemistry on and off the court, especially during preseason. We worked a lot with each other, so that was nice as well.
Excellent. The volleyball team is 3-0 on the year at Maine Maritime on Wednesday. A couple more non-conference matches. They're back home, though, on Friday, September 20th for the NESCAC opener against Amherst at 7 o'clock at Alumni Gym. Sofia Castiglioni and Skye Higashihara, thanks so much.
Thank you.
The women's golf team absolutely dominated the Husson Invitational as 8 of the top 10 finishers were Bobcats on Sunday. A pair of rookies shared medalist honors as Sarah Wicks and Isabelle Meltzer both shot a score of 75 to tie for first place. Isabelle Meltzer and Sarah Wicks with us here on the Bobcast talking some women's golf after you shared medalist honors at the Husson Invitational on Sunday, and you're both first year. So Isabelle, how cool was this to share first place with a classmate like this?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I'm really excited for both of us. It was a good start to the season, and, it makes us excited for the rest of the college season.
And Sarah, your first collegiate tournament, how did it kind of go?
I thought it was really fun. It was a really nice first tournament to get into. Very calm. Like, the team was super supportive, so it made everything better. And Coach Abby was really nice and helped us calm down like all of our nerves and everything. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I mean, Isabelle, how much nerves were there for you? And take us through the round and maybe some memorable holes, perhaps.
Well, my coach on the first tee said I looked like I was going to throw up.
She did look like she was going to throw up.
I was a little bit nervous, but I had been playing in tournaments all summer, so it was a similar format. It wasn't anything, like, especially new in terms of that. So, throughout the round, I had a weird start. I went bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie. So it was very up and down round. So just like mentally, I had to try to stay in it for most of it. But like towards the end, I was able to gain a little bit more confidence.
And Sarah, were you feeling nervous at all?
I wasn't, actually.
Okay.
I had told my coach, like, this is so weird. I don't feel nervous at all. And I usually have, like, when you get on the first tee box, you feel super nervous. I don't know. You would only know if you're a golfer and you get that feeling of, like, the first tee nerves. But I had no first tee nerves. And I think that helped me, stay calm, like, throughout the round. So
excellent. Well, just a little bit about both your backgrounds. Isabelle, you're from New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
What appealed to Bates about you in terms of coming up here for college and to play golf?
So I always knew I kind of wanted to stay in the Northeast, and I wanted a small school because I prioritize like the small class sizes, and I liked like that Bates was obviously very academically competitive, and I also came up to visit last summer, and I met Abby and I met some of the girls on the team, and I thought everyone was super nice, and I love the facilities they have here for us, so I just thought it was a perfect fit.
And Sarah, how about for you coming from Florida?
I knew I wanted to go to the Northeast. I lived in Colorado for most of my life, so I kind of wanted to go back to the cold, which is weird for a lot of people. But I was super excited. I wanted to go to a NESCAC, and I wanted to go to a more challenging academic school, so that's why I chose Bates.
Excellent. When did each of you both first pick up a golf club? When did you first start playing? Isabelle, we can start with you.
Well, my dad was in the business, so I picked up a golf club when I was 7. I did an after-school program, and then I loved it. Me and my sister signed up for it together. She hated it, so I kept going with it, and then I probably started playing tournaments when I was around 12, 13.
Sarah, how about you?
I started playing golf at the end of 8th grade, and I didn't start actually playing until the beginning of freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started playing super late.
And when did you think about, oh, wait a second, I could play this in college possibly?
Probably my sophomore year, because then I started playing a lot of tournaments, and it was like going well, and I just picked it up super fast, and my scores were dropping. So that's when I was like, yeah, I could do this.
So I saw you both got a trophy. You get to share the trophy, or how does that go?
Well, so I gave it to Isabelle. She could have it for the she can have it, and then they're gonna ship me one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When did you learn that you had tied for first place?
So we knew right after the round.
Okay.
Yeah, we were because
we didn't know.
Well, she finished right after me, but there had been a few times where it was backed up on a few holes. We were like tied through most of it. Like every time we would check in with each other, we were tied.
Every single time, like after a hole, I'd be like, "Oh, I got a bogey," and she'd be like, "I did too." It was like funny. I don't know. We were really linked most of the time.
Yeah. So I mean, it was nice, like because we're on the same team, so you want to hear everyone's doing good, but just like the internal competitiveness, it's nice to be like a little back and forth.
Yeah,
like,
it was fun.
Well, was it you had to par the last hole to tie her, right?
Yeah.
And so did you know that? Or?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah,
but on the last hole, it was a par 5.
Yeah.
And I had like a shot in where I could have hit the green, but I hit a bad shot.
Oh.
And I was hoping for a birdie, but I did not get that.
Yeah,
I
I
got a par.
3-putted on the last hole, so that was
to make a bogey.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she had a bogey on that hole.
Yeah,
but I did watch you 3-putt.
Yeah,
for my shot, but I didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't do live scoring for this tournament, so you can't see well. Like it was just if we talked to each other, that's how we would know.
Gotcha. So even though you weren't playing the same group, you were basically talking it throughout the
well, kind of.
Yeah.
We'd have
we
check
talked
in
a few
every
times.
Yeah.
And then just tell me a little bit about Coach Abby. She has obviously such an amazing background and what she's been able to do as a golfer in her career. What's it like learning from her?
I love learning from her. We've only been with her for a week.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, but she's like, I text her. I used to text her like all the time. Like she's the nicest person ever, and it's so like she's a really calm person. So like all of her points get across really well usually, and I like learning from her.
And Isabelle, how about for you in the short amount of time here?
I mean, I totally agree. Abby's great. She was helping me. I was struggling with my driver a little bit, and she saw one swing, took a video, and like definitely gave me some corrections that helped me for this tournament. So she does give a lot of helpful advice, which is refreshing since in high school, like the coaches leave you alone. They do not tell you anything.
The high school coaches don't even know how to play golf.
Yeah, they don't guide you. They don't do anything.
Yeah, they like joke with you about like how good they are.
So it's a nice change of pace to have someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, I so agree with that. I was super excited to come to college to have like a good coach that I could talk to all the time.
Well, speaking of that, what are each of you kind of focused on this year, your first year of collegiate golf, kind of learning and working on specifically maybe to improve your game as you go along, perhaps?
So my main focus right now, I just got new irons. So I'm trying to hit my irons better. And also I think a big focus that I think everyone should focus on is putting.
Yes.
My putting definitely needs a lot of work. And I think most people can relate on that.
Yeah, I definitely can. That was probably the downfall for me this past tournament. I had a few 3-putts that definitely like cost me some strokes. So I'm gonna work on that in practice today, and just like also mental toughness. Like as it goes on, it'll be easier to not get nervous or to be a little bit more patient with yourself, but that's always something to work on, and just like consistency.
I think being patient with yourself is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't get annoyed in golf. You have to just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's my problem. I get annoyed.
Yeah, I know. That's like, I think that's everyone's problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what's the team dynamic like? I mean, you're both new to the team. What's it like, joining this group?
I love it. All the girls are really, really sweet. And they're like our older sisters, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I had breakfast with 2 of them this morning. It was like, we have dinner together after like every practice. Super nice, and definitely like our team captains, Mira and Ruby, they definitely take more of a like leadership
Mira
role.
and Ruby are definitely like our moms.
Yeah, and we all carpool to practice. Yeah. Like it's just a fun dynamic. Everyone's super nice, telling stories on the van and stuff.
Oh yeah, we didn't do that. We slept on the van yesterday actually, but we were in separate vans yesterday.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, Bangor is surprisingly far from here. But,
yes, it is kind of far.
Yeah.
Martindale Country Club, what are your impressions so far of our home course?
I love it. I really, really like the hills. I think it's good. I think it's good to have a challenge.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it too, and it's great for like if we had last year they did a home tournament.
If we have a home tournament, it's a huge advantage for us.
We don't have one in the schedule this year, but it is good to practice on because then it makes courses like the Bangor feel so much easier because we play with tighter and like more blind shots.
Yeah, so that's why my driver was really good yesterday because
you have to practice on a harder course.
I've been practicing on really tight fairways, so it definitely helped.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So the toughness of the practice makes the actual tournament easier.
Yes, definitely.
So you're going to Bowdoin this weekend, right?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on 2 rounds instead of 1, right?
Well, that's what I'm used to. And most golf tournaments are 2 rounds. Sure. So one round was like, it was kind of nice because it felt super easy. Yeah. But 2 rounds is usually what we do. And we have to play practice round on Friday. So it's like 3 rounds. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I'm excited to play against the NESCAC schools too.
Mm-hmm. And I think Bowdoin is like our sister school, so we do a lot with them and like just even team bonding with them. Like a few months ago I went to the simulator and it was both of them together.
Oh, really?
And it was
I wasn't there. I did. I went later that day.
Yeah, Bowdoin's our big rival here.
Yeah, Bowdoin's our rival, not our sister school. Yeah. No, we're going to beat Bowdoin.
It's a very nice way to say rival.
No.
But also one of my friends from back home that I played in tournaments with all the time, she's at Bowdoin this year. Okay. So we'll see each other, hopefully, and that'll be fun.
I mean, are you motivated to beat her, or?
Well, obviously, I hope
we're all motivated to beat each other.
Yeah. But it's more, I think golf with being an individual sport, like you come in there with a competitive mindset, but it doesn't really matter in the end how you do relative to everyone else. Like I feel like I'll only be happy if I felt I played well or. Like,
and it's also kind of nice to like have a team that's like also shooting well because like if you like don't do as well one day, like your teammate will like pick you up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And but you don't feel good about yourself unless you're playing it for yourself. It's not about beating someone else. It's about playing.
Yeah, it's because golf is like basically you're just playing yourself.
Yeah.
And playing the course a little bit also.
Yeah.
Well, do you know much about Brunswick Golf Club? Or?
I've never played there before, no. Yeah, but my grandparents live 15 minutes away, so they're going to come watch me.
Oh, fun. Yeah. I don't know anything about the course, but we'll do a little research, and we're going to play a practice round on Friday. So.
Yeah. We'll get a good feel for it. I don't think it's like a super hard course. I mean, it's Brunswick. Yeah. So I doubt that they'll do anything crazy there.
Yeah.
Excellent. What are thoughts you wanted to share, both of you, on your first collegiate tournament? Anything else you wanted to mention we haven't got to talk about?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to play for the season. Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree with that. And I'm excited for Cape Cod.
Same. Cape Cod's going to be fun. If
we qualify.
Well, I think, the women's team normally goes to NEIGA's, their captain's course. Yeah. So did pretty well, I think, last year. We had
Alex won.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, she graduated, but you know her then?
Yeah, we met Alex. Yeah. We had team dinner with her last year.
She texted us. She texted me last night and was like, "Oh, congrats."
Oh, really? She didn't text me. Bob. I don't even think I have.
You have to wait for your trophy. You don't get. I don't know.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I got text last night. It's okay.
Sarah's very much loved on the team.
All right, well, Sarah and Isabelle, thank you so much for joining us on the Bobcast. And congrats again on sharing medal honors there at Husson.
Thank you.
Are you ready for some football? We sure are. The Bates football team opens the 2024 season Saturday with a 1 p.m. kickoff at Amherst. Head coach Matt Coyne enters his 3rd year at the helm of the program, and he gives us a full season preview. It is finally football game week here on the Bobcast. Matt Coyne joining us, head coach of the Bobcats. They're at Amherst Saturday for their season opener. And coach, training camp so far, give us kind of an overview of how it's gone, what you've seen from this team. Obviously, a lot of first years got thrown in the fire last year, come back from their sophomore year, and you have another big recruiting class here as well, right?
Yes, I think the biggest thing from before training camp is the off-season workouts. I think, biologically taking that next step and developing our players is the biggest part while we're, right directly in the middle of a build, and we're right on track, and, our guys are doing everything right. Obviously that game experience last year for a lot of those first years is going to, compound and pay dividends going into this year. And then we had our second full recruiting class show up, another 25 student athletes that, are from very good programs. And obviously, they will have some first year mistakes in them, but now we're not going to be relying on as many as last year to be in those pivotal roles. And now the development of the program is really taking shape.
Great. Well, tell us about your captains, what makes them such strong leaders.
Yeah, so Colton Bosselate, Steve Garrett, Matt Juneau are our 3 captains, and our team voted them pretty unanimously in the offseason. And I think, guys that just understand the process, understand how much goes into this and to developing this team, and they've been through it from their first year to now, a whole transitional period. And, I still think they do it all by the work that they put in. They do it in the weight room, in the classroom, on the field, and really building the culture was the biggest priority this offseason. I think when you revamp a whole program and bring in such a large recruiting class, there's obviously some disconnect initially because of just the youth and the immaturity in the program. And for us, the biggest thing was building the team camaraderie, building the, relying on our pillars, what we talk about of being real, respect, energy, accountability, and love. And I think they really bought into that in the offseason. And it was huge for our team camaraderie, our team culture. And now these incoming freshmen have, a structure. And that's really what builds to successful football programs.
You mentioned Stephen Garrett. He's one of a few fifth-year guys. This is the last year of the extra year of COVID eligibility, I'm pretty sure. So what's it like to have him back? Extra experience, right?
Yeah, Steve's been great, and he's tough as nails. A guy that, as we talk about with all our guys, after the first practice, you're never going to feel 100% until about 3 weeks after the season. So Steve, he takes on a lot of that workload, plays through a lot of little dings and knacks and things of that nature. And he's a high caliber, all-conference type player. Just looking at our fifth years coming back, on Steve Garrett, obviously big focus, but ultimately on offensive line, Pete Simplicio. He got Kyle Hamilton back, Ben Conrad back, and Johnny Walker. So 5 guys that really committed to the program and said, hey, we want to leave this place better than we left it. Really provided that structure and leadership, all 5 of them. And, they're extremely valuable. I think right now we have 12 total seniors and fifth years. That's, extremely light for a football program, but I'll take those guys over everybody. I think they've really bought in and have set a path for these young guys that are going to develop and continue on their legacy after they leave here.
Great. Let's go through position units since it's the first game of the year. Quarterback's interesting to me because Colton Bosselay and Seneca Moore both got playing time last year, and they're both very different style QBs, I feel like. So how's that going kind of with them and Seneca, his second year in the program?
Yeah, so I think, our QB room, all 4 of them are great individuals. It's Colton Bosselay, Seneca Moore, Jack Perry, and Sean Green as a first year. Obviously, Colton and Seneca have had playing time, and Colton, is our guy. I think when you play 3 years at quarterback, I think, what he's gone through, having an experienced crew his sophomore year, his junior year, having to try to, pretty much do everybody's job out there, which really affected his gameplay. And that's what we talked about this offseason of just, doing your 111th. And now being a senior, he's played a ton of football. And I think at that position, you need guys out there that have been in the fire. And for Seneca to get that experience last year, now his development has taken a full 180. He's developed in the passing game. He's developed, obviously, his skill set, running the ball and moving. He's a different athlete. And we're very fortunate to have him there. But he's got to develop as a quarterback still, and he's taken that next step, and he's really put in the work for it. But ultimately, Colton's a great leader in that room. Along with JP, guys that are juniors and seniors.
Great. Now, running back Ryan Linsky had a great first game last year, a couple touchdowns against Wesleyan. I know he was banged up later in the season, but tell us about the running back room a little bit.
Yeah, so our running back room, Linsky obviously got some playing experience along with Jackie Morale, 2 really valuable, gritty guys in the backfield there. First year, Ryan DeMeo will be in the mix as well, and Tyler Walcott, Adam Steinberg, a lot of guys that'll be seeing some time back there. I think you want to have as many backs as possible because durability is everything. And excited to see sort of that whole room come together. I think Ryan's coming back from an injury and he's looking great. His confidence is back, and he's a heck of a player. But so are all of them. Jackie Morale's been out there. Played in a bunch of games last year. Same with Steiny. Williams, he was playing O-back back there and doing that. So for us, we're excited about the whole room.
Excellent. Now, wide receivers, one standout from last year, obviously Sergio Beltran is top of mind. Was a very reliable target all year. Seemed like almost, like the safety valve. He was always open, it seemed like. What makes him, I know he's a converted quarterback, what makes him such a good receiver?
Yeah, I think Serge just really buys into the craft. I think he's extremely, he's blessed with some talents, obviously some given talents to him, and he's enhanced those during his time here, and really the weight room, the off-season programming. I think as you develop your players, they start to gain more skill sets. So he's game experience, and I think just he's infectious for our team. We talk about one of the pillars, energy. Like, he always brings positive energy to the group, competitive energy to the group. And really makes it, that room pretty inclusive. So for him, it's just his whole energy and his attitude really is infectious within our program, and he works his butt off. And I think as does all these guys. But that receiver room, we've got a lot of talent in there. I think you expand on it. Ryan Gleason, Maverick Salamenti, they both played had some good experience last year, and they're back, and they're also developed another year. We've got some younger guys in that room as well. First year's Jeff Adu, Quinn Carver, Zay Jackson, Jackson Smith, all younger guys that are learning that craft, very talented individuals. Drew Sachs is back as another senior that's been out there playing experience coming back from his injury and has been a great leader in that realm. And other guys down the list, you got Lardy, Stephen Lardy, who's a returner and really excelled at his receiving as well. And, the whole room, if I'm missing anybody, they know I love them. So it's a lot of people, but they all put in that effort. They all put in the work. And Matty Holmes, that's one right there. Matty Holmes, big game against Colby, a guy that's just reliable, gritty. So I'm excited about that whole room.
Yeah, just to follow up on that a little bit, Holmes, you mentioned, had a huge game against Colby. And when you have a receiver who maybe had flown under the radar and then have such a huge game like that, what do you kind of work with him to be like, hey, how can we make this like a consistent thing? Because it was such a breakout performance, and it's like, well, that's possible. What's the next step?
Yeah, I think it's just the confidence that it can happen. I think sometimes guys, in this sport, and including myself playing it, you need it to happen to realize it's possible, and before you actually believe in yourself to do it. So all of our guys have that belief, and the thing is sometimes the ball finds your way. On that day, it found Matty's way, and he did a heck of a job. And I think everybody just has to be willing to just do what is expected of them, do it to their best ability, and then success will find your way. You don't have to do something, magical out there. It's like if all your guys just give our best, we do our 1/11th, we play hard, you do what you're supposed to do on each play, you reset, you're going to be a pretty successful program. It's not always going to work out your way, and, luck plays a part of it. But, I think when you try to do more than what's asked of you, that's when you start to compromise your own skill set and what you're supposed to do.
All right, so the big guys up front on the offensive line, with the notable exception of Pete Simplicio, it's a pretty young group of guys who got thrown into the fire last year and now coming back for a second season, right?
Yeah, I think that's what we talk about, up front. You build your offense and defense through your lines, and I firmly believe in that. And I think at Bates, we've had a history of being able to run the football, and I think you need to do that to open up the passing game in general, and you got to invest in it. And I think, O-line's one of the toughest positions to play when you're young, just because that's the biggest area where biologically, just strength-wise and physicality-wise, you need some time there to build that. So up front, obviously, Big John Antolik, coming back, Kevin McDonald coming back, Andrew Finn coming back, that all saw experience as first years. Out there, obviously, Big Pete has been a leader in that room, and he's an all-conference caliber player. But we have a couple of younger guys that are going to be out there showing their stuff out there. Matt Perotti, Ryder Smith, two incoming guys that are really heck of players. And for us, we're really excited about our O-line this year and for the future. I think we're going to continue to build and develop it. And there's a plethora of depth behind there as well that has taken the next step through off-season training and just investment into their bodies that we're starting to say, hey, we have 8 to 10 linemen now that we're okay putting out in the field. And we're going to develop that room, and we're going to build that through our offense.
And that's obviously huge because depth, I think, is the biggest key in football, in my opinion, right?
100%. And I think that was some of the tough parts. I think when you look at it just offensively and defensively, and I know we're getting into defense next, but, when I first got here, my first year, we played 4 D linemen the whole season. We didn't have a depth there, So for us, we were really limited, and it wears on you. So now when you look at it from us in this perspective, now getting that second class in and having a plethora of depth, in those first 2 classes, now we have guys that are developing, and now it's like, hey, if somebody needs a break or goes down, it's not, pull a fire alarm. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like next man up, and that's how you develop a program. Yeah.
Just tight end real quick. We mentioned Garrett already, but who else in that tight end's room are you looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, so tight end's room, Damian DiGiovine made a switch over, and he's really excelled. Got up to about, he's a 6'2", 240 pounds in the offseason, really did the work, and, heck of a blocker, physical. We moved Camden Zambrowitz over from defense to offense, and then Bryce Carberry's first year coming in is a heck of a player. He's got a really bright future. He's going to develop, and he's just a football player. That whole room is very physical, very gritty, and they understand their roles, and I think that's just the style of our whole offense.
Excellent. Well, let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. We'll start up front on the defensive line. You touched on it earlier. Your first year, 2 years ago, you only played 4 guys all year. Who's going to be playing this year? Who's on that defensive line?
Yeah, so we've got a bunch. We feel really comfortable with about 8 to 10 guys that we're going to play a game, now. So we've really developed it. Obviously, up front, experience-wise, Kyle Hamilton's played a ton of football. Alex Zanino's played a ton of football. Finn Duffy's played a ton of football. So those guys will be in their roles, obviously with experience there. Shane Broughton made the move down last year, and he's really, done a heck of a job with his body, and he's going to be a really, really good player here. So, he'll be out there, as well as, Josh, Big Josh. I think he's the only person that probably by one first name, because you look at him and he looks like a statue. He's taken the next step, came in at 218, now weighs 245, and really excelling at the defensive end position there. Jackson Collins, looking really well out there. Eric Facey, Zach Luvat, all the guys that are all coming in. Ben Conrad's back, and he's done a heck of a job in that room. Ryan Kimmel, another sophomore. So there's a ton of talent in that room, and really, Coach Radulski really does a great job with them holistically. Just of their roles and their energy and their effort. And really, now we have it where we feel like we can get home with 4, and that's a big piece. And there's other guys down the list in that room, Paul Larrabee, Tomas and Mickey, Sean Gomez, another first year coming in. They're all great guys, and they're all going to develop. But now it's like, hey, we're going to be fresh.
Yeah. A little more than 4 people.
It's a lot more than 4 people.
Linebacker, Matt Juneau, I feel like he does a little bit of everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, Juno's gritty. That's just what he is. He cares about this program as much as anybody. And I think he's a guy that you really love to coach because you can coach him. And that's one of those things. He likes to be coached hard. He likes to get better and challenge him, and he doesn't shy away from it. I remember my first year here. He'll tell you. I told him after the first year, I was like, dude, you gotta get better. Or else it's not gonna work out. Mm-hmm. And he took that not as like, coach, what the heck? He took it as like, all right, that's a challenge. And he changed himself. He changed his body, changed his mindset. He bought in, and that's what happens. And now, he's always around the ball, and his energy and effort will overcome any type of things, any type minor mistakes. So I think you can't teach that stuff.
Great. And then who else in the linebacker room are we excited about here?
Yeah, we're excited about it all. Ryan Rosich, played 9 games as a freshman, had about 50 tackles. Yeah. Really, really heck of a player. He's going to be a stud. So he'll be in there. Mike Donahue is a rising junior, really taking the next step in his offseason development and just football IQ and development that way. We've got some first years in that room that are really promising. Carmel Crunk, Elias Scott, Keith Nally's in there as well. Scavone, obviously is a guy that's been around, played a lot of football. I think that whole room, I think, has just taken a next step of development overall, and I'll preach that because you hear it on this Bobcast a lot. Is development is like that's where we're at in our program right now. We need to take those steps as we infuse it with talent and then cultivate it and develop it. And these guys are taking those steps, and we're really promising. We're really excited to see what's going to happen.
And then moving to the secondary, I remember last year when we talked about the secondary, you were pretty excited about the 2 safeties, Michael Spencer, Jack Morrison coming in. They were first years, they got thrown in the fire right away. What are you seeing from them as the last line of defense kind of in their development?
Yeah, and I think that room, we had 18 DBs now, and it's like one of those things. We brought in a big class of DBs, some good talent. Obviously in the back half now, you got, Spence, Morrison, and then Johnny Walker, guys that played a ton of football, and I think you're going to see a bunch of those guys out there as they're working through it. Obviously a ton of guys that have come back, for Presley Green, Peyton Francis, Cole Higgins, guys, Aiden Bruce in the back end that have experience. But then we have a very talented freshman class, a very talented freshman class of DBs that we're really excited about as we look out there, and you'll see some of them out there because they've competed the right way and done the right things at all levels. And I think that room as well is just taking the next step of the competition, the internal competition. It creates, it elevates you, or if it makes you figure out what you need to do to get there. And again, it goes back to the culture of your program. If your culture is correct, kids don't shy away from that. And if they do, they probably, aren't in the right spot, and this is the wrong sport for them. But our guys have done a great job of acclimating them in and understanding that, hey, like, it's a competition, and we're going to fill this room with talent, and it's gonna rise people up, and it's going to tell other people what you have to do to get there.
Well, I think you mentioned the first years. We met one of them on Instagram already, right? Julian Grant, number 3. He looks pretty good, right?
Yeah, Julian Grant, heck of a player, just like the rest of the class. And again, as I go through, I'm trying to remember everybody on the roster, and so I don't want anybody to feel slighted, but because I love every one of them. And I tell the guys that all the time. It's a pleasure to coach these guys. What they've put in for me and our staff is unbelievable. going through what we went through, the resiliency and how you build a program. It's tough in the beginning stages. Football is one of those sports that doesn't just snap and get better right away, unless you got, NIL money that you can buy a team, and that's a different thing. But, our culture settled in, and Julian Grant is another kid that we brought in from Tabor Academy. He's just a football player, man. But now he has time to develop. And I think that's one of the biggest things as we transfer through this and we go through this stage of this program. And, as you get your second class in, then your third class, and once you get the fourth class in, now those first years aren't going to have to be put in roles right away. They're going to be able to be developed and taught and not thrown in the fire right away. And I think that's how you get there. There's no other way to get there as a successful football program.
So special teams, also want to mention that because Ruiz, I thought, had a really good rookie year as a place kicker, and then Parker, as the punter, was hurt early on, then came on late and had some good moments as well. But I noticed they're kind of alternating punting and kicking. Is there a competition there, kind of who's going to do what?
Yeah, so Parker's our punter, and that's where we're at. And obviously, the numbers last year weren't unbelievable, and he knows that, and he's worked really hard. And Coach, we'll get into the new coaches, but Coach Alec Brown, our special teams coordinator in Tennessee, has done a heck of a job with him, and Parker's really matured as well. That's a tough position. I think sometimes the special teams doesn't get the notoriety that they should because they get thrown out there in moments where it's one play and it's like either win or lose the game, and it's like you don't get another, chance. A quarterback can throw a pick in the first quarter. He's going to get 3 more quarters to go out there and make it right. Yeah. So, Parker will be doing the punting. He's got an unbelievable leg, and his maturity is great. And then Marcos will be doing our kickoff and place kicking. And Marcos has the ability to be one of the best kickers here ever. He really does. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a great leg. And so we feel really solid with those guys right now with their roles.
Yeah, you touched on the new coaches. Tell us about them because your coordinators are back, but you have some new position coaches, right?
Yeah. So in this, obviously in this profession, things change, and you got to adapt and find new people that are going to elevate your program. And Alec Brown, he's a Maine native. He was out at a NAIA school in North Dakota, actually a very competitive, NAIA school, finished second in their conference every year. And he's come in and coach our tight ends, and we wanted to make that commitment just to find time on our offense and get people specific coaching and taking over our special teams. And he's done a great job with that, just the organization, allowing me to step back. Still, I always obviously monitor everything, but I want to not micromanage everything. You hire people to do their jobs, and you got to trust them. And he's earned that trust in a short amount of time with his work ethic and his habits, and he's a perfect fit for Bates. Our guys love him already, and he's couldn't be happier with that home run hire. We just hired Coach Kyle Suda as well. He comes to us from Marist. Was a student assistant at Monmouth, coached at Wagner, Brown, and then most recently Marist. Brings a plethora of experience, quality coaches that he worked for. He's done a heck of a job with our DB room. Those guys are flying to the ball, they're tackling, they're using their techniques, and they're really taking his coaching. As you look at it from the back half, it's very, very simple. We got to get a little bit better back there, and obviously, the youth is a product of that. But these guys have taken the next step in their development. They've taken the coaching, and those guys want to be great, and that's the first step. So that whole room has gotten better. So super excited about what Coach Suda's done in a short amount of time, and excited to see what he's going to do over a longer period of time as well.
And I mentioned returning coordinators. That continuity has to be nice, right?
Yes, 100%. I think as you go through it, obviously Coach Warren on defense, your first year, and again, it's tough when you have a younger team because you really have to shrink your playbook, and then it makes you a little bit more predictable because of what you can handle. So I think just having the whole offseason, having spring ball for the first time was huge. Just getting those practices, opening up and developing, learning, going on the road and meeting with other staffs and developing as coaches as well. But now there's just a similar language. It's a similar structure, and now guys aren't learning a whole new system again, because I think that no matter how experienced you are, if you're going through a coach every year as a coordinator, you're learning a whole new system every year. So that's great. And Coach Thompson obviously has been with it from the beginning. So those guys, he's done a great job with our workout programming, our offense, just, done a heck of a job. And now he gets into, his year 3, and now calling the offense. And I'm really excited where we're at and excited about, where we're going.
All right, so real quick to wrap things up, give me a quick Amherst preview. They're kind of middle of the pack last year. We beat them 2 years ago at their place, so tell us a little bit about them and season opener, you never know what to expect. Well, what might we expect from Amherst?
I can tell you one thing, they're going to be extremely well coached and well disciplined. Coach Mills and that staff down there, I'm close with them. Our staff is close with them. We know them from a personal level, and just they've been around forever. I know they're going to be well coached. They're going to be prepared. And I think they're always sound defensively in the red zone. I think they're always tough to score on down there. Excited to see what they're going to do offensively and things of that nature. But that's what I'll say. You don't know. I'm just so excited to see our guys go out and compete. Because we're out here, for 15, 20 days, and you're going against each other, and then all of a sudden, the NESCAC doesn't allow us to scrimmage another team. So you're doing an inter-squad scrimmage, but you're not going through the whole thing with another team. So I'm just excited to see our guys go out there and compete. And I think, first weekend, it's always a crapshoot. I mean, you look at it in college and the NFL, it's nobody can predict what's going to happen. Get out there, and, the best thing you can do is, play hard, play physical, do your 111th, and we're preparing our guys as much as we possibly can for those moments. And then they go out there and perform. So I'm just excited to get down there. And play a quality team, because even though they're middle of the pack, they're still a very good program, and we respect them, and we appreciate the ability to compete against them.
All right, Matt Coyne, thanks so much for the preview.
Thank you.
Next time on the Bates Bobcast, we'll introduce you to our new head women's tennis coach and recap what should be another exciting week of Bates athletics, highlighted by field hockey's top 10 showdown with Babson on Wednesday and the football team's season opener at Amherst on Saturday. That's next time on the Bates Bobcast.